A standing ovation, what? That's more like it. We come all this way, and you don't want to stand up, dog? Stand your ass up.
Hello.
What's happening?
My name is Catherine Van Arendonk, and I am so excited to welcome the cast and creator. We have Bill Lawrence, we have Christa Miller, we have Zach Braff, we have Sarah Chalke, we have Donald Faison, we have John C. McGinley, we have Judy Reyes, we have Ken Jenkins, and we have Neil Flynn. So, how long has it been since you guys have all seen each other?
We spend most every weekend together.
5
yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
You two accepted.
We just get together and watch old episodes.
Sure, yeah. Which episodes do you watch?
Oh, she was joking.
No, I understand.
Okay.
We, by the way, this is the true story. We have not been together as a full group like this, I think, since the show since the show wrapped. And if anybody's doing a TV festival, if you call Zach and you say there's going to be free alcohol, there's a chance that we'll all come.
But the truth is, we've passed on a lot of these, and this is the very first one we've all come to as a group. So let's do it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Please get this out of the way.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
so look,
sorry,
so
yes.
you guys know how the internet's toxic. My wife did not get a facelift in through her forehead. She fell and got stitches. So if I know, by the way, I did that shit. No, I didn't.
It's not funny in the Me Too. It's not. It's
But
not
it was
funny
doing
enough.
something
funny.
very athletic
It's not
and very
funny.
dangerous and very scary.
You were walking in pajamas, right?
I was walking in pajamas that
Hashtag facelift. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
that were too long, and I'm already almost 5'10", so who makes pajamas that are too long?
It was
that are
cool
crazy
how
too
you
long?
got your height in there, because you're pretty proud of that. I don't get.
I'm just saying, just so you know, I didn't get a facelift through my forehead stitches, and I have black eyes, and I have a cracked rib, and I just want to get it out of the way. So
I just
you're
want
not-
is it possible to get a facelift through forehead stitches?
They
I
can
got,
do
I
it.
got one through my abdomen.
They can do it.
Oh my God. And I didn't want to come because I felt really stupid and embarrassed, and I came because I love all these
We're
guys.
glad you're here.
I came. So,
Thank you so much for joining everyone, because I know without, I think,
Did this Scrubs panel just become about Christa?
yes.
Because that
Yes.
was not my
I am
plan.
so happy that this rolled out this way.
Okay, so let's make it about everyone then. So when the show started, it was a slightly weird but not super weird medical comedy, right? And then as it developed, it became really very, very weird. How did that happen? What gave you the confidence to be like, yeah, we're gonna have a fantasy scene where JD and Turk plant one of Turk's testicles and he grows into...
He grew another turkey. My favorite thing was that when he grew another turkey, he couldn't talk.
He couldn't talk. How did you do that?
All right, I'm going to tell you a couple things. One is there's a bunch of the writers from that show, and this is one of the most talented writing staffs I've ever gotten to work with, and there's a bunch of them here. Yell a noise right now if there's a writer here. There we go. All right. So it was I see one up.
Holy sh!
I know. Do you believe in Schwartzicles?
Hi! Shorts!
So guys, I'm speaking.
Sorry.
Jesus. I'm just about to say something poignant.
You guys, there was alcohol in
Mr.
the green
Lawrence.
room, so I apologize.
No, the way the show became weird, quite honestly, is we lived in a time that if once your show had kind of a very passionate fan base, which you all are part of, you knew you could stay on for a while if you kept feeding people what they were enjoying. And we pledged early on to, even if we kind of went down with the ship, to do stuff that we thought was funny and that made us all laugh. And I was able to do that with a really talented writing staff, but also with actors and actresses. You know, I can't tell you how many lines people have come up to me and said, I really love that. And I know one of these people made it up on their feet. And you know what I say? I just go, thank you. Like that, because I'm modest. But I think that the show was able to evolve because we had a fan base that followed us from time slot to time slot and year to year. So.
Did you guys, you have a script and you're in the hospital, and then you start reading the script and then you discover like some very bonkers thing is happening. What were your favorite fantasy sequences, and were there ever any where you were like, nope, too weird, can't do it, not gonna do it?
One of the things I always thought was funny that they would sometimes let something go through to the reality world that was completely a fantasy. Like Neil literally built a home-sized sandcastle that he was living in the parking lot.
What?
Right? That was not the fantasy world.
Toward the end, there was a time, I remember you particularly saying, but we're not fantasizing at the moment. That means this exists. And
Why? Wait, why were you building a sand?
Look, it's a slippery slope. You guys were all around for some of our mistakes. I wrote and directed an episode that I believe that the Turk used to smuggle JD into movie theaters in his backpack.
yes.
That was also, we did this shot where I was literally in a backpack. I mean, I put my head through a table and there was like a fake leg going up. But I looked back and it was like, no, that wasn't a fantasy. I was in the bag.
Yeah. There's a couple of the writers here. Neil Goldman might have been the one that did it the most. But by the way, that was Neil Goldman cheering for himself. Also, Neil Goldman cheering for himself.
He wooed himself.
But that we reached a certain spot in the 5th year that we were right. We might have. I don't want to say that there was marijuana involved. It doesn't matter. It's legal now. But we might have gone too far with crossing the line between fantasy and reality.
What moments on the show where you're like, nope, that's too far?
JD.
Never. No, I don't think
It
ever.
happened once. The fantasies were all of our favorite thing to do, and I mean the Star Wars one were all the Star Wars cast, and I got to make out a lot of hot ladies like Judy Reyes, Mandy Moore. But there was one fantasy where Bill was like, it's too far, when we were so excited. It was the first fantasy I did. I was supposed to be a nerd in headgear and lots of zits. And we kind of just like were having fun with it. And I came down, Bill's like, what is on your lip? I'm like, it's a cornflake. It's supposed to be a cold sore. He's like, no, lose the cornflake. That's too far.
You shouldn't have to say lose the cold sore to somebody. They make that decision on their own.
My favorite thing though is if you would read a script. Bill, I shouldn't say this because Bill's such a brilliant writer, but it would say Bill's such a brilliant writer, and
they're married. If you don't know, they're married. So
it would say the janitor says whatever he wants
If we
to
couldn't
say.
think of a janitor line, we would sometimes write next to the in a script. It would say janitor, and underneath it would say Neil, say something funny.
Wow.
And I can't ever, I don't know if you guys can, I can't ever remember. People are so nice to ask me about different things in the show and what they were, and I can't remember any of it. But one thing I do remember was you had to come up, one of the Neil Say Something Funny thing was you had to explain why you had killed a duck once. And you invented a riff that you guys got in a fight in your car. It was a duck, by the way, and that you pulled
fighting over the radio station.
Yes, over the radio station. And you pulled over to the side of the road.
Took our shirts
You
off.
said the next thing you knew, me and the duck both had our shirts off. I'm like, the duck's got his shirt on. And he's like, and we were, giving each and added out. And so you beat a duck to death in a street side fight. And that is one of the many moments that people come and say, that was so funny. I'm like, thank you.
No, my favorite is when you explained to Zach how your wife knitted the shorts.
That was written though. I did not.
I'm
make
a
that
doctor.
Up.
I can't wear short shorts to work. If you look at the gag reel, the bloopers, I think that's the hardest I've ever laughed. Was Neil explained to me that his wife, with her limited fingers, had
all she has is pinky, pointer.
and she had made me using the Scrubs material. She had made me short shorts, and that it was an insult to not wear them. And my line was, "Look, I'm a doctor. I can't wear short shorts to work."
Neil, do you have a favorite like moment that you remember ad-libbing, or that you, like a line that just really, you were like, I can't even say it because it's too goofy, like you just made you laugh?
Because I haven't been allowed to do that since, so I remember it even more fondly than I enjoyed it at the time, and it was I didn't have a very big part in the show, so I got to have this extra fun, which was wonderful. I remember saying to Christa something about, God, well, this is all credit to Bill, because he would say, and then if you think of something else, say that. Or I would goof around in rehearsal and he'd say, good, say that. Or we'll do one that way too, and we'll do one that way too. I was telling you about the janitor's childhood or something, and it's just...
In the cage! Was it when you had the cage? Was it the cage?
I don't remember that. I remember saying that my first pillow was a pile of handguns. I remember that, but it was all, I mean...
What did I say?
How's
Good,
it going?
like great?
I don't know. You just basically handed me the ball and then watched my mouth to stop moving, and then you would talk.
My favorite was when I said to you, is there some kind of underground canal system under the hospital? I think I saw a manatee. And you said, was his name Julian?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know, we didn't exchange pleasantries. And you said, that's Julian.
That's Julian. That was, I believe that was scripted though. That was not, that was not improvised. People will sometimes say to me, is it true that you made up all your lines? And that, of course that's not true. That'd be chaos. There's another person in the scene with the scripted lines. I can't just say, So sometimes I was allowed to ad-lib, and oftentimes with Zach we would change the dialogue a little bit, but yes, but most of it was written.
So there are some people who are called upon to, I think, be the straight person in the scene more than the goofy ones. Judy, I feel like your job often was
Have
to...
the gravitas.
Yeah. Yeah, which is
That's what Bill would tell me when I would go to him at least yearly, right? And say,
Every year Judy would
why
come
don't I
in.
have any jokes?
She would go, by the way, she's like,
Like,
I'm
I'm
funny
always-
too. I'm funny as shit. And
Johnny C. Wait, Johnny C. Say to Judy what you said to us in the car driving here.
I said she's one of the best fucking actresses on the planet.
Absolutely.
And I was like, but I can act funny. I just need jokes. I need fantasies.
But you just
I got
bust Matt's
really,
ears
really
so well.
upset.
Can I tell you what's weird reason we were talking about this in the car, and it's corny, but shows like this only work if you walk this, I'm gesturing with a drink very well, don't you guys think? Can land a moment that way, watch. So anyways, these shows only work if you have someone that can ground it and make it seem real, and that Judy could kind of help us switch gears to the pathos and the drama and the emotional stuff in this show. And I was trying to catch up on the show and remember it, and was watching a scene that she did with Aloma Wright when Nurse Roberts passed away. And she's such a good actress that is one of the main things that made the show work.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's something that, so the show is, like, we've been talking, so wildly funny, but it works because so much of it is threaded through with these really, emotional relationships between these characters. I wonder if there were points sort of throughout, because you were able to be on together for so long, points where you felt like you were really happy that you were pushing the character in new directions, moments where you were like, this relationship now speaks to me differently. I think in the Sizzle Reel we had the one with you and Dr. Cox, and sort of when he broke down, right? That was one of them. I wonder if there are others.
Do you know, I'll hand it off, but one of my favorite ones, and this is how TV shows evolve for you guys, is we became a family working together and enjoyed each other. And Ken Jenkins and John C. McGinley had such a good relationship in real life, and were such cantankerous, antagonists on the show. I really enjoyed the end when we made them friends. And it mattered to me on a personal level, because I could watch those two do scenes, instead of being mean to each other, that they were treating each other like they did in real life. You guys remember that part?
Yeah, vaguely. I really like beating him up with balloons.
So were there, I mean, other big sort of relationships? I know the JD Turk relationship obviously is one of the cores of the show.
Yeah. I think after we sang Guy Love, I knew this relationship will last.
Yeah.
Harmony.
It is once you sing a love song into another man's eyes
You just can't.
about his hands being inside of you.
It was surgery.
One of the fun things, are you guys going online and seeing like bachelor parties and weddings where the best man sings that to his groom? They're everywhere.
I've never seen
I'm
that.
going to.
But now I'm going to.
I see the gifts a lot. I have to say, 9 years of Scrubs gifts are really great because you can really, when you're sending a text, there's a gif of yourself for every emotion. So I often use them, Scrubs gifs.
Which ones do you use?
They're often like me and Donald rubbing our heads together. Or I'm like, I miss you, and then it's me and Donald
That's the
rubbing our
best.
heads together.
I think that might be my favorite gift
Yeah.
I've ever seen in my life.
But for any emotion you can think of, and they're not even looking for them. If I'm putting like, oh, I'm happy, it'll like a Scrubs gif will come up, and I'll be, oh, I'll just use that. But one thing I think that's so unique about the show, and a credit to Bill and the other writers, I've never seen something that navigated in without commercials. It's 22 minutes, so that would navigate from the broadest comedy you can think of, all the stuff we're all laughing about, and then find a way to have a scene like the one that you show with Johnny C. and I played completely straight. It's just the hairpin turns of that on paper. Sometimes you wouldn't even think that could work, but it usually did.
The weirdest thing, it's a story we tell a lot. Matt Tarsus wrote an episode the first year called My Old Lady, which Catherine, how do you pronounce her last name? Jostin. She's since passed away. Nice lady from the West Wing. It's an episode in which it's the third episode of our show, and each one of our interns gets a patient. You're told that 1 out of 3 of these people will die, and it was a trick. It was a manipulative trick. So we decided in the writers' room that all 3 of them were going to die, and this is how we were going to tell all of you that this show is going to be a little different, right? And the way TV works in network television, I never handed in outlines or scripts or anything on time. But when I did eventually tell them what we were doing, the first call we got is, did they all have to die? I'm like, well, yeah. Well, couldn't one of them die or just get very, very sick? And I'm like, no, they're all going to die. Like, well, if they're all going to die, could they be racists and horrible Nazis and people, that we want to see die? I'm like, no, they're going to be people you like and they're still going to die. And the fact that we were able to do that show early and the people here embraced it, it was very nerve-wracking for us because I thought there was a chance that everybody would turn on a show that they were hoping to laugh at and find that to be not what they wanted to see on TV. But once we got permission, not from the network, but from the audience, we decided to do it for the whole run. So,
I got one. Yes. And good for the network for doing it. I confess I don't remember much of this. It's sort of like a Chinese chopped salad blown in a tornado. A little bit. Oh yeah, I was there. And I love it. It's a wonderful feeling. But I remember one of those turns. I just thought of it. And my favorite one of those turns was in an episode with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, did it just felt like he'd been there right from the beginning, constantly. Why haven't I seen you? Oh yeah, you've always been here. But there was one that Johnny C. was talking, and he was in an argument with Brendan, and he was having a tremendous argument with him. And Zach says, "Who do you think you're talking to?" And you pan back, and you realize you're at the funeral, and you're left with Johnny C's face, and you just go into that face, and that was the whole drama of his death, was just that one shot, just going into his face, and you turned on a dime, just on an instantaneous dime, into, bam. That's a great trick. That's real writing.
Can I tell you guys my random favorite thing about Ken? A lot of people out here, I'm sure, are actors, actresses, writers in and around the industry. You always have to be very careful with people this talented if you're going to tell them I'm not good at giving notes. You're not supposed to give line readings. When I started my career, if someone did a joke differently than I heard it in my head, since I knew I wasn't supposed to give them a line reading, I'd say, don't say it like that, say it like this, which is a line reading just with noises.
By the way, you said when you started your career, you did that to us all the time.
All right.
You're not supposed to give a line reading, and Bill would get around and be like, "No, what if
Just
you
say it like this.
Just be like, "Buh, buh, da, 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 da." He thought if you made noises and didn't say the words, it didn't count. All right, go ahead.
But Ken Jenkins is one of my favorite experiences because just so you all know, if you program his name onto your DVR, it'll explode because he's been in every movie ever since the dawn of time. And I used to come to Ken nervously when we started having you do, really acerbic jokes. And I wasn't sure if you always knew what I was going for. And I would fumfer around, and then Ken would just interrupt me. And he's like, Bill, I'm old. Just tell me how to say it.
It took me 3 seasons to get him to give me a line reading. That's all I wanted.
How do you want it?
And then we all did that. Bill, just say how you want us to say it. Oh, that's
Another
hilarious.
Bill trick for you aspiring filmmakers out there, directors, was something I've used that I stole from Bill. He'd go, at the table read, we all gathered around the table and read. He goes, you did it in a really, really funny way. I just want to get back to that. You did it like this. And he would say how he wanted to say it.
A lie.
And then
it's a
and
lie.
a total lie. And the actor would be like, that is good. That's how I did it? And he's like, yeah, that's exactly how you did it. And it's fucking genius, and I've stolen that. Thank you.
But he was right, because if you get somebody to do it right in a rehearsal right before you go in to shoot it, you're sure to fuck it up when you shoot it. So he was right.
I just love that it preyed on the actors' egos. They were like, I was that good, wasn't I?
You were so funny.
I was
you made
killing
me
it at the table read, wasn't I?
You killed me at the table read when you did it like that. And I'm like, I'll definitely do it like that when we get to shoot it.
This wasn't on this show, but on another show, I actually did that. And the actor, Courtney Cox, the actress, said we didn't have a table read.
Nice. Nice.
Whatever.
So you're all hilariously funny. Who is the worst at keeping a straight face?
Sarah Chalke is.
Sarah Chalke.
I think it got to the point where like these guys can make one noise.
It was this noise, ready? We'd go like this. And we'd do it like at like 2 a.m. when the crew wanted to go home, and they would be like so pissed off, and we just wanted Sarah to
Don't you, God, mother.
By the way, so Flash, PTSD. All right, so watching that clip show when Johnny C is doing help me to help you, help me to help. You guys were enjoying that, and I was flashing back to that was at night, and every time he got to this move, Sarah would go, like, Sarah!
And I would literally be like screaming at myself in my head going, these people have families. Everyone wants to go home. Get your fucking shit together, Chalke.
Yeah. Sarah had a pep talk for herself that just to make her stop laughing. Where she would berate herself about the families of the crew. She'd be like, these fucking people want to go home and take care of their kids.
And then I would literally get to a point where I'd turn away and then I'd turn back into frame. I just have to see someone's face. And I'd be like,
And then right after her pep talk, Tal and I would be like,
and then I think we got to a point where I think this one time where everyone's like, I guess we just move on. I don't think we have it, but I don't think we're gonna get it. So I guess we just.
Sarah would say, one more Z's. Yeah.
Sarah, one more Z's. You guys
Sarah,
are
one more Z's.
Sarah, one more Z's. She wants one more when she's at 9.
All right. Just so you guys know what that
Everyone else
song
got that
means, that means Sarah wants one more take, even when she's had 9 takes and everybody
Thank
wants
you for
to go
explaining
home.
that, Bill. That might have been that's a good point. Everyone on the show had a song, and it started with Gabby Allen Greenberg, who was one of the writers, who only listens on Fridays.
Yeah.
Gabby doesn't work on
By the
Wednesdays.
way, if you're talking about an inside joke,
really
it's
inside.
really about
Everybody in the audience is like, huh?
oh, great.
Okay, so, all right.
Let's go through all of our songs, you
We're
guys.
now going to discuss all of our inside jokes.
So let's come back out. There are so...
By the way, let's hear it for the moderator. She just saved the evening. That's good moderator.
So there are so many amazing minor secondary characters on the show, right?
One of the philosophies of this show early on, when we were talking as a staff, was to do it like The Simpsons, And the cool thing about animation, usually on a TV show, you notice the secondary character's job is to come in and go, where are you going? Who are you dating? What time is it? Where do you work? What's your job? And on our show, we said, what if we made them all be, funny, like, The Simpsons, whether it's Mo the bartender, or Barney or whoever, they pop on their own, and we decided to kind of fill our world with all these odd ducks. I'll take does anybody have a reference to who their favorite is? Is there a hand anywhere? Is there?
Not all at once, everybody.
Beard Doctor, Beard Face.
Beard Facet.
It's Beard Facet, damn it.
I'll take one. Where is he? Right there. Where? Hooch?
Hooch is crazy.
It's crazy.
I got a question.
Wait.
I got a question.
Where's that?
Who's that?
Which side?
Right in front.
Right in front?
You guys are doing our scrubs reunion without the tongue? I miss you five.
It's Rob Macchio, everyone.
I miss you five.
I was so hoping for a banana hammock. I was so hoping for a banana hammock.
The banana
got the
hammock
tattoo.
doesn't fit anymore.
Hey guys, let's hear it for Rob Macchio, everybody.
Let me just say this. Scrubs fans, don't forget this. You're just a little bit better than everybody else.
It's true.
Scrubs Reunion 5, for people streaming at home, Long Distance 5, Mental 5, Betrayal 5, not inviting the big dog.
Rob, who told you where we were?
Ted. Thank you, good night.
All jokes aside, I want to give a shout out because one of the things that made this show work was everybody felt that their job, rightfully so, is the most important. And whether it's Sam Lloyd playing Ted with my favorite a cappella band of all time, or Rob Macchio playing the Todd, or Aloma Wright playing Nurse Roberts, just the people we brought into this world, some of them are here. I want to thank them and thank you guys for liking them so much. So it meant a bit. No, Rob, it's over. Rob, it's over.
Rob, it's over.
It's over.
Rob.
Put it on.
Rob.
Put it on.
No. Hey,
You don't want to
it'll
see
happen.
it. I've seen it.
It'll happen.
I've seen it.
My
It'll
child
happen.
is
You know, when we
here,
moved
please.
from NBC to ABC, because it's Disney, we were no longer allowed to show Rob in his banana hammock.
Really?
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
If you notice the Bahamas,
when I was directing, I had to frame above his penis.
in
Oh my God.
in the Bahamas episode, he comes out and flexes on the beach, and we had to blow up that shot because it was it showed the banana
it's a
hammock.
loss.
Rob's banana hammock is not Disney approved.
It's a loss for humanity, really.
It is.
Were there other changes that you had to between when you switched other things about the show? That
But one thing, but a lot of people don't know this trivia is we only shot one thing ever that Bill had to throw out, if I'm not mistaken,
True.
and it was a medicinal marijuana.
This
thing.
is I'm
that
not.
many years ago, they were like medicinal marijuana. Get the hell out of here.
I don't want to make a dumb point, but this is how screwed up network television is.
Oh God.
All right.
Bill, there's people watching.
Donald Trump. No.
The lights go down.
They would not let us do a story about getting medicinal marijuana for somebody that was having trouble with chemo and cancer. And so, to make a point, I said, what if the patient that's dying is a virgin and they want to have sex for the first time, and Carla and Elliot want to go looking for a male prostitute for her, and they're like, oh, that's fine.
But no
you
pot.
can go. I mean, the kids on Disney can see us getting a prostitute. just not medicinal marijuana.
That was the only thing. You actually shot it, and you couldn't.
We shot a couple scenes.
That's the only thing I remember.
No, there was one
there was-
I want to say it was My Old Lady where these two had a storyline. It was one where, now forgive me if I'm wrong, if I remember this thing correctly, but didn't you guys have a kid that didn't make it and it got cut out of the show? Am I wrong for that?
That
No.
was the medicinal marijuana.
Maybe I was smoking.
know.
the
Did you write that?
medicinal marijuana. But do you remember, because they were looking through a window, this is what I remember. And I remember we shot it, and then it turned into something completely, and it was happy and everything like that. But it was a dark turn at the end of an episode where these two are looking at a baby, the baby where she was like, I don't buy it, where she has the book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they see the baby, and she's
By the way,
like,
this is what it's like for all of us trying to remember our own work.
Wait, so what was the story that didn't
No,
happen then?
I don't
he's
buy it
making
was
it up.
about something else. Like
You were like, I
Johnny
miss
C
our
was
baby.
lying about something.
yeah, but you said something in the window where you were like, I miss our baby.
Yes.
And he says, yeah, I know. And then the network.
Oh, you're right. We had the couple that you guys, when you were married, we said that your marriage dissolved at one point because you had a kid that didn't make it, and we took that out.
Wow. Donald, that's a downer.
Thank you very much.
Downer.
Inside scoop, y'all. Inside scoop.
That's a downer.
My most embarrassing moment
that's
actually
sad.
was something that almost got to, what happened was I've never gotten in trouble from Bill except for this one time, and it was something they
not
almost.
true, but
It was like something they
'Cause
almost.
we could talk about
they
the
had,
tan.
They almost had to take out, but they fixed it. And Bill came up to me one day. He's like, "Okay, Chalke, so harder than any special effect we had to do in 8 years, harder than making Zach's head explode in a fantasy sequence, was making you look less like an Oompa Loompa, because what happened was
Somebody told Sarah that self-tanning is cool.
No, wait, Scrubs had gotten nominated for an Emmy. Everyone was super excited. I didn't have anything to wear. Everyone's like, you got to hire a stylist. I'd never done that before. I did. She said, you need to be tanned. I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going in the sun. She said, go to one of those booths. And it was like the episode of Friends where Ross ends up like a 9. Oh my God. And like, it's really complicated. I mean, there's this weird cream and there's a mask and there's all this stuff. And I had my dog with me. And anyways, I get to Scrubs and the tan increases over time. So
You've never seen anything like
By the way,
it.
not to bring
was
it back.
crazy.
She
It was
looked like Donald
crazy.
Trump. She was orange. She was like literally
Wow.
Cheeto.
I did, and you were like, you're in the scene with Donald,
I was-
and so we can't.
I remember like,
adjust
did
it.
you get a haircut or something? There's something different about. Have your eyes always been that blue?
Thank you. It was so embarrassing.
And you were like, no, it's a spray tan.
I think Bill called me from work. He's like, "What do you do?"
know
I
that.
said, "I don't know what you
Don't
do."
do that stuff. It smells like rotten meat too.
It
Have you
does.
guys done that? It's gross.
That sounds terrible.
I have an apology to make because and it's someone that hasn't spoken a lot yet. So this writing staff, wasn't their fault. It was my fault. We always gave these guys material late. This is one of the only shows that I think sometimes you guys would be shooting a scene from a show that you didn't know what the show was yet because.
Dude, we used to get scripts in your handwritten.
Johnny C.
But I used to hand John C. McGinley 2-page monologues. Literally handwritten. By the way, the morning of, I'd be like, hey, John, if it's cool, we're going to shoot this right before lunch. And then I would run, and he's a very scary human being, so I would scurry away as quickly as I could. But,
How did you do that? Like, do you have strategies for when you get handed a handwritten monologue and then you have to learn it?
I'm just filled with self-loathing.
Okay.
And so, in order to hate myself less, I had to do it. Otherwise, I would have to face the man in the mirror and just want to wrap my fist around my esophagus and kill myself.
That sounds very healthy.
And so I was so competitive with Billy, I was like, fuck you, I'll learn this motherfucker.
That's kind of good. Then, by the way, and he thought he was winning, but then my 29-year-old head or 30-year-old head, I would go, oh, I obviously don't need to get him the material that early next time. I could push it up right up against lunch.
Sometimes the scripts would come so late, and we'd be like, hey, Bill, call down the writer's room. Can you tell Donald and I why we're on a table? Because the scene just opens and we're standing on a table and we have no idea what's going on. He goes, oh, sorry, yeah, here's what happens. And so we'd like shoot a scene out of total context.
There was one time where we each got the voiceover. Like Zach always had the voiceover. There was one episode where we each had a turn with the voiceover. It was my turn with the voiceover, and the script wasn't
Bill
ready.
threatened Zach.
Oh, is that? I didn't know the backstory.
Yeah,
that
the
makes it all that much
backstory
more
is
juicy.
that Bill said to Zach, you know what anyone can do. I guess they had an argument over something.
No, it was, he goes, a new intern can always walk in.
Oh, shit.
Ouch.
Ouch.
And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He's right.
I
So
remember
it's
one
my turn
time
with the
I was
voiceover,
I
and
was
I-
going to get back at Billy one time, and it was, I don't know what season. It was the season you brought on the actor from Kids in the Hall, Foley. What's his
Scott
name?
Foley, Scott Foley.
Dave
no,
Foley.
Scott Dave Foley. Scott
Dave Foley.
Foley's in a show of mine.
Dave,
Oh, God.
Dave Foley. So you
Alex
brought
Foley.
Dave Foley on, and he was going to walk everybody through the 7 stages of loss or something. And so I had a monologue with him because I wasn't buying any of the stuff that he was doing. And you gave it to me, and I had enough time to subvert it. And so
I remember this, by the way. You're going to see a cathartic moment between the two of us because we battled.
And so it was late in, it was episode year 5 or 6 or 7. And so I had gotten into this really playing with weird cadence for Dr. Cox.
No.
This really strange sound. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna take this to its logical extreme. And the logical
No, you did not play with words.
the extreme was I was gonna make it incoherent.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and I did it really fast, like this Martin Scorsese syncopation, really fast, and we shot it, and we were good.
You guys understand? I went into editing because the crew was just happy to be done. We're 6 years in, and they're gone, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta cut this scene, and I'm looking, and it's literally John C. McGinley giving a speech, going like this: "You guys are in this room, I'll get in this room." I'm like,
Did you?
I thought I had had a stroke. I thought I wasn't hearing correctly.
Did your mouth ever hurt because you spend so much time on the show going like with your mouth?
No, but
hurt?
Billy had the last laugh on this one because he made me reshoot it. And Johnny C. don't reshoot.
You can see, by the way, here's a good piece of trivia. You can see when John C. McGinley, as a performer, whether it's because of the way it's being shot or how the day is going, you can see when he's actually angry. When you guys watch the show, that you see this part of his jaw just start to twitch. Can you do it now? Can you flex that thing now?
I'm not angry.
So when we were talking on the phone about doing this, one thing we mentioned, Bill, you said like, well, we're not really reboot people, and I wondered if you could explain a little bit about why this show, why you don't want like that sweet reboot money.
No. All right, I'm gonna navigate this without getting myself in trouble. I would, I know, right? I would do anything to get to work with not only this group, but the writers that are around and do it again. It was the best time in my life, so much so that I often find myself now trying to grab a gold ring, that I've already been lucky enough to have grabbed before. You can never equal that experience. That said, sometimes reboots, not all the time, sometimes they feel like a money grab, and like people are just trying to, and one of the cool things, if this group came to me destitute and unemployed and said, oh my God, we need to do Scrubs again, or the crew did, or the writing staff did, we would do it. But you are looking at a group of people that work whenever and however they want to because of how talented they are. And so the only reason to do it would be to do something for you guys and enjoy the time together. So if we ever do it, we'll do it as a short little movie or something like that.
Aw. I wonder though,
By the way,
yeah.
and on that topic, you guys know everyone here is just crushing it. The most annoying thing to me on the ride here, my son is here somewhere, and he's so excited because Sarah Chalke is one of the voices on Rick and Morty.
Oh.
And that's what he did. And then in the car with Johnny C. and Christa and me, and then he said, I just recently watched the whole, watched the whole series of The Office. And then I said, have you seen Scrubs yet? And John, do you remember what he said?
I watched an episode or two.
I wonder though, like if you were in a position where you were going to do a revival, what kinds of stories would you imagine you wanting to tell about your characters now that might have been different than the kinds of stories you would have been telling when the show was originally on? Where do you see...
The marijuana episode.
Okay, well, yeah, sure, the marijuana episode. Are there other ways that you imagine, like what would you want to imagine your characters doing?
I've been asked when people have asked me about doing the show again, And I think the problem for me is if I did it, I would just want to see where everybody was in their life. I would want to see where their marriage is. I would want to see where their marriage is.
Like,
I would want to see if they're still
The janitor is back working for the CIA.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
That'd be great.
That's speaking of favorite episodes.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's talk about freaking watching The Fugitive and waiting for
My
the
favorite. I
waiting
love
for
that,
the credits.
Donald.
Waiting for the credits to roll just so we could find out what the janitor's name is.
Oh, yeah.
By the way,
Cop on train.
raise
the
your
janitor.
hand if you're one of the people that found a way to contact me and go, if the janitor was in The Fugitive, then his name is Neil Flynn. By the way, everybody that found a way to contact me and say that, I personally got back to them and said he lied. That's not his name.
Neil,
His name's Glenn Matthews.
Or is it?
Neil, did you feel like your character had a name and you just never told anyone what it was going to be? Did you for yourself, like, just, like secretly, like, my name is Steve? Did you make that decision?
No, I would have been fine never having a name. And anything, like at the end, when I said Glenn Matthews, that could easily be a lie. In fact, the very next thing, someone says, hey, Joe. I'm like, hey, how you doing?
Do you know when we decided on the name Glenn? Do you know?
Because of Clone High?
In Clone High, he played a janitor named Glenn. We decided that was his actual name.
I liked it when he was Yanitor.
Yeah, I like Dr. Yanni too. Judy, where do you imagine Carla would be now?
Definitely with a couple of kids, and I don't. We talked about early in Scrubs about her aspiring to be a doctor, and I didn't think. I liked her running the show as a nurse.
Judy, by the way, you should clap, because Judy and all the actors and actresses were so protective of their characters. I would talk about things to them, and Judy took the time to say that she thinks that Carla's very proud of her job and would do it for life, and that's who she was.
I'm protective. I'm like defensive. It's like, I think she wants to be a doctor. I'm like, why? She's an amazing nurse. No.
Yeah. She is.
And then I feel bad. I was like, I think I was a little bitchy. No, but I thought it made sense that she's. But I don't. I think she'd be like menopause, and I was like, I think I need more.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like that. You know what I mean?
What?
We're going to take questions from the audience in a minute, and there are mics that are going to be in the back. As you are arranging that, I have one question that I was told that I had to ask if I was going to come out here, which is about the poison dance.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to do it?
No, there's no way I'm doing it. No.
Do it.
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
Do it.
No. But
Girl,
if you
I must
no. If you want to see it, you can play Fortnite because they jacked that shit.
Yeah, they did.
Do you guys
My
see that, by the way?
look
Hey.
at my kid is here, and she's a huge fan, and she does that little.
Do you play Fortnite?
thing. Yeah.
By the way, just so you guys know, it's real trivia. Fortnite had to inquire for the legality of it, yes. And it's fine because it's just a character dancing.
Really?
But
I didn't get no money. No, I didn't get no money. I know, that's what y'all all thinking, right?
Look,
somebody got paid.
Donald.
Should
No,
you get
Donald.
paid?
no, I did not.
Donald,
See?
Somebody stole that shit, and it's not mine no more.
I made the decision. I knew that Donald would be cool with me getting the money for that.
No, hold on. Hold on! God damn it, no!
That was good money for us.
Yeah, I mean,
That
if they
was good.
say, like, if they say,
Will, you owe me some money, man. That private school that you're
Bill
going to
said-
right now.
they
Fortnite.
said, I've explained this to the audience. They said that was cool, that Fortnite dance you did, and I said, thank you. But no, but
Bill and Krista sent me a picture of them on vacation. I was like, what are you guys doing? They're like, we're spending our Donald Fortnite money.
Oh, wow.
Nah, that's some bullshit. That's not true.
put
He's
them
full of
side
crap.
by
That's
side,
not
by the
true.
way. It's awesome.
Nobody got money for it.
You know,
Nobody.
by the way, they really did a screen capture of you and side by side. It's the same
Yeah,
dance.
it's exact same dance.
That's amazing. How long did it take you to learn the dance?
He made it
I
up.
He
made
made
it
it
up on
up
the
that
spot.
second.
Oh my God.
I don't think you would even read the scene when you got there.
No, hold on.
What, really?
Sometimes,
Hold on,
Donald,
Shut up.
let me just say
Shut
this
the
one
fuck
part.
up. Shut the fuck up.
You had not read
Shut
it.
up. Shut up.
You had not read
Donald
it.
didn't always read the script.
Shut up. That day I was late. Hold on. let's be clear.
What am I doing? An air band?
Right, yeah. It was, I walked in and I was late, and I remember you being like, yo, what the fuck, man? And me being like, all right. And I remember the whole crew being in the room when I had to do that dance. And I was like,
By the way, I was also, this is the best thing about Donald, just so you guys know how talented he is. I go, did you work on this shit? Because it's supposed to be good. He's like, oh, yeah. And by the way, when they played the song, you could see him registering, like, because he had no idea what the song was going to be, even though it was in the script. He's like, oh, Poison, I got that.
I know this one.
That's amazing.
And I'm the opposite. I'm so type A. Bill's like, will you do an I told you so dance? I'm like in my dressing room trying to plan every single move and such a dork.
Okay.
Can you do? No. Do it. Do one of them. Poison.
It'll
They wanted
never
the I
happen.
told
Listen,
you so dance.
I gotta get paid now. Fortnite already took all that money.
Yeah, if he does it, he has
Fortnite
to pay
took all
Fortnite
that
now.
money.
Okay, do we
It's
have
owned by Fortnite now.
do we have any audience questions? Okay, in the back.
What do you got?
There are people with mics, so find a person with a mic.
Right there in the red. You can hand that young lady a mic.
I just want to know, where did the joke come from where the janitor was always going, mentiroso?
I know that. It happened a handful of times, only because I think that was to find your short shorts in the dumpster. And my line was, liar. And I said, does anyone on the set know what liar is in Spanish? And they said it was mentiroso. And I just thought that was more interesting. And I assume I asked you if it was okay.
Yeah. And then, by the way, this is the way this show works. He would say, is it okay? And then we would say yes. And whenever you have to say liar from now on for 9 years, say...
Right. Mentiroso.
Excellent. Okay, next.
I have a question. I'm a doctor myself, and because of you guys,
You're welcome.
you kept the sense of humor alive. And I wanted to know, throughout your time filming, did you guys yourselves get to go to a hospital and like really see how boring and lame it is on a day-to-day basis?
Wait.
And then try to find things that you felt you.
Before these guys talk, I'm going to say two things. One, the thing that I'm most proud of about this show is the amount of medical professionals that have said that we either caught what they were going through or influenced them in becoming nurses or doctors.
My brother-in-law.
It means so much to me, so thank you so much for saying that and for doing it. I think it's really cool, okay? Number two, and these guys can speak to it, my best friend, if you have a heart problem out here in LA, the real JD, Dr. John Doris, is a cardiologist, and this show exists, and a heart surgeon, because he was my best friend from age 18 on. We went to college together and we're roommates. And I don't know about you guys, but he was a screw up, and my nightmare would be waking up in an emergency room and seeing him be over me and going like, you're gonna be fine. I'd be like, I've seen you so drunk and so crazy. But it created the feeling for me that doctors and nurses are like any of us. They laugh, they joke, they do what they can to get through stuff. And I think everybody here had moments with him. One of my favorite things about this show is that he and his wife, who Elliot was based on, he married a doctor who's also a family physician out here named Dolly Chalke, were the medical advisors on the show. And when he was on set helping us with the medical stuff, they all called him
Real.
They called him Real JD. So his nickname was Real. And
The best part is he was a real cardiologist, and he'd be advising us, being like, okay, you're gonna hold this like this and this, and then it was still in the time of pagers, I think, right? Wasn't it? Or doctors had pagers, and he'd be like, ooh, I gotta go.
If you all watched the real finale of the show, this would mean a lot to me. There is in the main, the real finale of the show is when Zach
Season
walks
9?
down the hallway.
Season 9?
Season 9, no. We'll talk about that if you guys want to.
We don't talk
But
about
if you
Season
watch
9.
the real finale of the show, Zach walks by an actual doctor that looks a little like him with black hair slicked back and says goodnight. And that guy is the real JD, and he's the one the whole show is based on.
He made the mistake of giving me his cell phone number, and there's been numerous times that I've been like, real, do you think this is a problem?
And Bill not only played the guy who married Sam Lloyd. What's his character's name? I should know this. Ted. And
he married Neil.
Oh, sorry.
Lady janitor.
What?
I married Neil and Kit. I was a band.
Sorry, he married Neil and Kit.
And Ted saying, hey,
Yeah, and then he was the janitor at the very end of season 8 that pulls down the sheet that's being projected on.
Bill was.
Bill is not a good actor.
I'm an amazing actor. Did you
But
guys
it's funny,
notice that?
on the poster for this thing, there was a collage of all our faces and Bill. And I saw on one of the social media, someone was like, why did they put up the guy who married those two in the Bahamas? Like he had like 10 lines.
By the way, the Bahamas part, which I feel was my opus, and I feel I was amazing in it. When I was marrying Neil and Kit Pongetti, who's a great talented actress who's actually here somewhere.
Kit? What up, Kit?
And I knew it was my moment to shine, and the entire cast was in the pool off camera watching me and drinking, and I feel I was amazing. They feel I was horrible.
Well, it's a good thing you're such a good writer.
No. I thought you were amazing, Bill.
Do you guys remember my character name? Stretch it out. Thank you. See? Van.
His dad's name.
Yeah. The guy, by the way, just so you guys know, that tiny island in the Bahamas, it's called a Hope Town. The population's about 600. We took the whole island over to shoot it. And the reason I did it there, the gentleman sitting next to Ken Jenkins at the bar for the whole show is my father. And that's where they live.
And he's a terrific actor. He was really putting away those Bahama mamas.
How did we get an episode shot? Like, I don't even know how that, like, we got talking to at the beginning, and they were like, guys, if you don't show up at your call time, we're going to have no way of getting a hold of you, so just, like, be there.
That island had no roads. We just took our entire crew there and a whole bunch of booze and went around on boats and shot that show for a week. It was super fun. More questions?
Oh, yes, next question.
We didn't answer your question, but hey.
I have a lot of good answers, but we'll move
We
on.
all have answers to that. We'll find you after, and you get to come out with us because we're just going to talk about what happened in hospitals to all of us.
He's lying.
Mentiroso.
Hey. Yes, right there.
You guys did an episode where Turk gets a new cell phone, and his cell phone number was 916 call Turk. And I was in high school on like the message boards on NBC.com, and people were like, "Call this number, you'll get to the set." And I did, and like Donald Faison answered.
I remember, dude.
And,
How you been?
my boy.
How you been? I recognized that voice.
This guy.
I recognized that voice. Wait. Steve?
Close.
What is it?
Sam.
I knew it! I knew it!
But
Dude,
like,
I fucking miss you, man.
But like, can I tell you the funniest
whose
version of
idea
this, and
was
then you'll
that?
do your question, by the way? We believe, all right, it's a good opportunity to say how grateful we are because this show stayed on because people this loyal to the show kept engaged, and did stuff like this. My favorite moment of the phone, it was a marketing moment, and we all took turns answering that phone because we thought it would be a great idea to put that number out. That number is discontinued, by the way, because 10 years after, if you turned that phone on, it never stopped ringing. we had a map, and every country in the world, we kept it up in the building. We would get calls, and every person up here took turns answering it. And my favorite moment, and I'm sorry, I'm going to tell them this. But so anyways, I was working late, and my wife likes to sleep. She has this magic trick. If you look away, when you look back, she's got a mouth guard and a sleep mask on. It's very weird. So I came home talking to a fan, and because I'm a nerd, I'm so excited that someone cares about a writer. And I'm like, yeah, we came up with that outfit. And my wife screamed from the bedroom, and she goes, "Are you fucking talking on the phone at 1 in the morning?" And the girl on the phone goes, "Oh my God, is that Jordan?" I go, "It is, but I have to go."
Okay, sorry, did you have a question that you
Your
wanted
question, man. Look, I believe and the
Say
staff.
thank you.
All right. Yes, thank you. The staff and I. One of my things that I think you have to do if you're creating any type of art out there, any of you, we live in a world that if you're passionate about it, market it yourself. And we used to sit around coming up with ideas to kind of engage you guys and take it to people. And that was one of mine. And then we had an idea that we did a multi-camera episode of the show that we brought in a lot of Scrubs fans to see it taped live, even though it's not a sitcom. And I just believe that, you know, if people are this passionate, they're going to show up 17 years later. You got to feed them stuff and do stuff like that so that they can have access to you. It's part of the fun, you know?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we are out of time.
What? Well, if you look at the clock behind you, it says.
We have 20 seconds.
We passed it. It's now going up. It's now going
How far
up.
are we allowed to go over?
Let's do a last good question.
We need one last good question.
One last good question or two.
Okay.
There's way in the back. He's very excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I was wondering if Donald could do the Sanford and Son, Carla, don't be licking me no more anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, can you do that for me? Yeah.
It is time now. It is time to watch the show. Yes, it started. Don't be licking me no more. Matter of fact, can I get a handy wipe?
One last question. Okay.
Hey, the last thing I told myself and my wife that I would do, you guys might not realize it, it is a gift that anybody would still care about something that we did this long after the fact. I'm touched. I'm grateful. This show would not exist were it not for the fans and for people still keeping it alive. I just wanted to take this opportunity for me and for the whole cast to say thank you. And that's it.
Thank you so much.